Hi, Christy here. Today I want to talk about how things are not always as they appear, and at the same time talk about how our minds usually go to the most negative thing possible. It's all a little bit of a behind the scenes here because this is about what's gone on for me in the last couple weeks. About 2 weeks ago, I went outside to see whether it was cool enough to open our windows and get some cool air in the house. It wasn't really, it was a little too humid, a little too warm. And I look over by the grill in our backyard and I see a snake. It's all curvy in a little astroturf in front of the grill. And I do not know the snake species here in Arizona. We've only lived here 2 years. We have never seen a live snake here out in the wild. So here's this black snake with some markings on it. Oh, I can tell it doesn't have a rattle, but I don't know what kind of snake it is. And I didn't know I had an issue with snakes. I've been to the Arizona Desert Museum and I saw them in tanks and I was fine because they were contained. But having them wiggling around in the backyard, not as fine. I ended up having Rick get close enough, my husband, to take photographs so we could try to identify it. And I could not identify it readily on the internet. And I'm like feeling my stomach churning. It was amazing to me how much I was thrown off by this snake. It was probably 2.5 feet long. Long story short, this snake is non-venomous. It's a king snake. It's very beneficial. It eats rodents. It eats rattlesnakes. I could see no rattle, so I knew it wasn't that. But there are venomous snakes here that do not have a rattle. So anyway, for an hour and a half, this poor thing was trying to get out of our backyard. It would go all along our outer concrete wall, turn around when it would hit pavers, and it would come back around the wall. I mean, it went over the pavers in the first place to get back to the wall. Anyway, I had the door propped open with rocks, trying to get it out. Eventually, it went up the gate and then went down behind the gate. Oh my gosh, and then up the gate again and across the wall. Eventually, it got out. But anyway, meanwhile, I'm like, this is freaky. I mean, I wouldn't do anything to harm a snake. They're beautiful animals. I'm glad to have them. But I'm also happier when I don't see them. Okay, so now I'm through my snake crisis. About a week ago, so a week after the first snake incident, I look out the window and I see a snake wiggling across our driveway. Again, I'm like, we've never had snakes before. Not the same kind of snake, very different looking snake. A few minutes later, it comes up on our porch. This one's probably a similar size, 2.5, 3 feet long. Hard to tell when they're kind of in their wiggles. So again, I'm like, what kind of snake is that? We had a dishwasher installing team coming. I'm like, ooh, we do not want a venomous snake on the porch when these people are coming. Again, long story short, it's non-venomous, very beneficial. It's a gopher snake. Both of these snakes, people are like, oh, these are really friendly. I found an Arizona snake identification group on Facebook, and they were like holding a king, with two people who showed themselves holding king snakes in their hands. Like, yeah, that's kind of a bridge too far for me. Anyway, the second snake slithered away well before the dishwasher guy showed up. But it made me laugh at myself, first of all, like what's going on with me and snakes? But second of all, why do I and do all of us go right to the worst case scenario of, what's possible? And the thing is, part of the time I'm panicking, I'm inside the house. Like, there's no way the snake can get to me. Pretty interesting. Kind of onto myself, and I also just want to get educated about the snakes so that I can be more, chill about the whole thing. Even if I see a rattlesnake, being like, okay, that's this kind of rattlesnake, and this is what I need to do. They do have a thing here where the fire department can come and take venomous snakes off your property. Hopefully we don't have to do that at any point. Anyway, I'd love to hear in the comments below the last time your mind kind of tricked you or took you to the worst case. So it could be something you saw visually, the old garden hose looks like a snake thing. It could be a medical thing where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried, and it turned out not to be so bad. Or something that you believed that you no longer believe. I'd love to hear in the comments below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, please go be brilliant.